Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our roadshow to Virginia Beach, co-hosted with Astro and Rent Responsibly. My name is Heather. I'm the president of the board here at Astro, and we have Greg on the line. If you don't mind waving, Greg, I think folks can see your name on there. He is our real estate expert today for the market from Vacasa. We also have Brandon. He is a seasoned homeowner, short-term rental homeowner in the market. And then we also have Melanie here with Key Data Dashboard to give us an overview of market trends and really take a hard look at some data, just what's happening here. The purpose of these sessions is to just answer any questions folks have, but also make this a quick 20-30 minute, snackable content where you can get a quick overview of what's happening in the market. If you're thinking of investing or already have invested and just want some more insights as to what to expect into next year. So Rent Responsibly should be joining soon. I think Dana was having a little bit of a hard time getting on the line, but we're going to go ahead and jump in. Maybe Brandon, is there an update from Dana? Nothing yet. Okay, so hopefully she'll be here any second. Let me see if okay, nothing yet. All right. We're going to jump into the
She's
deck.
saying still nothing. Should I just send her mine real quick?
Sure. Yeah, that works.
I'll do that.
Thanks. All right. Always a little technical difficulty. Okay, so welcome to Virginia Beach. We're virtually here in the market. We're going to do a quick intro to who Astro is. If this is your first time engaging with the association, just talk about who we are, Rent Responsibly. Hopefully we'll do the same here when Dana jumps on the line. And then Melanie will go through the stats, a little future outlook and kind of year to date. Then we're going to talk hear Brandon's story, and then also hear from Greg on the real estate side. And then if we have time, hopefully for a little Q&A, and again, trying to keep this really tight to 20-30 minutes to get through it all. So big picture, Astro looks at the short-term rental industry and recognizes, and Astro was founded about a year ago because there was really no unbiased association focused on professional development for that, short-term rental homeowner. The majority of our members too are self-managing, like doing everything themselves, and it is their side hustle. But we're really targeted towards answering any questions short-term rental homeowners have. Even if they hire a management company, they may have questions about insurance, things like that. And these three big trends are of the millions of homes around the world, half, if not up to 60 or even 70%, are self-managed by entrepreneurs with 1 to 5 homes. And there's technology making this easier every day, really attainable for anyone to be able to do. And we know there's increasing customer demand. Travelers want these kinds of accommodations. And then more opportunities to distribute, more channels, more places people are buying. And then regulatory support is critical, and that's really at the heart of Rent Responsibly. So this is a quick snapshot of our website, astro.org. We have, weekly content updates, articles. We also have a business directory. So this is where you can come for services and technology providers to get a sense of who's out there serving the short-term rental homeowner market. And then we also have member perks and benefits, different discounts to that tech and services. Really, the goal of Astro is networking. That's one of the core, and providing these resources for professional development. What you see here is a screenshot of the member community. It's free to join. Once you're in the community, you'll have access to this platform. Again, you just see a view of it, the mobile app. And you'll see upcoming events, the e-learning courses, they're quick 1 week, high level kind of one-on-one courses offered quarterly. And posts and articles, just place for all members to interact. Really taking it up a notch from social media, where we have experts in the community, right, to validate that, there's accurate information, and we work to bring in experts when we don't have folks in the community with the answers. So again, here's a quick view of the website, app, and then education, kind of a review of education. These 1-week power courses are right now mainly around revenue management and pricing, marketing, having your own website, driving direct, investment and financial, as well as a tech toolbox course. So I don't know if Dana has been able to jump on. Any word, Brandon? Yay, Dana, good. Apologies for the technical difficulty.
No worries. We got creative in this day and age. You just have to get creative. So I found my way in, and I'm glad to be here. Thank you so much. Thank you to Astra, and thank you to Heidi and Heather for including Rent Responsibly in this awesome roadshow. It's been super fun to do with you. And speaking about the Virginia Beach community is especially an honor today, because when I first started with Rent Responsibly, they were the first community we had the opportunity to work with. So Brandon, who you'll hear from later, is someone that I've created a relationship with on a personal level, but someone that's really just been a mover and a shaker as far as promoting responsible renting best practices as a host that is a model host within his own community. And so a background for anyone who's not familiar with Rent Responsibly: we are a community building and education platform for short-term rental alliances. So we provide alliance management tools like the ones listed on the slide that you see right here, and we help local leaders create successful, sustainable organizations. And you can go to our website that's listed there to learn more about all the resources that we provide. And then on the next slide, you can see the Virginia Beach Short-Term Rental Alliance, and Brandon may answer some questions about this group later, as he is one of the leadership team members. But this is an alliance that is all about promoting the good apples to City Hall. They're there to correct maybe incorrect narratives that are floating around. They're there to put on educational events within the local community so that their neighbors and community members can see that they do want to promote best practices. This group is led by a leadership team. And so if anyone that is watching this video now or later wants to get involved, we inquire you to reach out to the email listed on the website. And then if you haven't joined the Short-Term Rental Alliance, the Virginia Beach STRA.org/join is a really great way to get involved and find out ways that you can help. And then the last slide for me to share with you on is just a couple of the resources that we built. So similar to Astra, we're very big on education and want to make things as easy as possible for you to know how to get involved and how to use your voice. And so if you follow the QR code, this will take you to our resource page. But on the left side, which is probably too small for anyone to actually see, is a good neighbor guide, which helps you understand how to create win-wins. So you have a full-time neighbor next door and you're paying for someone to come mow your lawn. Offer an introduction to that company, or have them shovel off sidewalks that maybe are in the neighborhood properties nearby. And then if you do have to do public testimony, one of my favorite resources, because I think public testimony can be very intimidating, is our public testimony guide. That's a 101. So it gives you understanding on how to time your 3-minute public testimony, what things to highlight, maybe what things not to highlight. So 2 really helpful resources that are only just a few of the many, many resources we've been building at Rent Responsibly.
Awesome. Thanks, Dana, for being such a great partner, and excited to dive deep on Virginia Beach today with so much going on, and the great local association that's been in place.
Thank you.
Okay, we are going to keep going and take a look at some market data. So Melanie, we'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, so I'm Melanie with Key Data. We provide data and analytics about what's going on in the short-term vacation rental market. If you go to the next slide, we collect data in 2 main ways. The first is we connect directly into professional property managers, property management systems. That's great, very good, solid data. That was a terrible way to describe it. But we look at both historical and forward-looking performance. We get to see owner stays versus maintenance holds versus guest nights. And so it's really great for understanding the actual revenue and occupancy of a property. But it means we have to have integrations with those management companies, and we lose out on those 50% plus of properties that are hosted instead. And so to make up that gap, we also scrape Airbnb and VRBO. And so then we get a more holistic look at the market. And so the data I'm presenting today is actually from Airbnb and VRBO for this year so far. So here we're looking at the Virginia Beach occupancy rate. This is overall occupancy. So it would include things like maintenance, holds, and owner stays, which is why maybe it's not seeing those big seasonal swings as much as you would if you looked at your like adjusted or just paid occupancy rate. So we have 2020 in blue, 2021 in the orange salmon color. And good news, occupancy has been a lot higher this year so far, especially through the spring. It's slightly higher during the summer. Obviously, Virginia Beach's peak season is the summer, so it can be tricky to add a lot more occupancy during the peak season. And then pacing strongly for the rest of the year as well. Maybe down slightly for the winter season as compared to last year, but those shoulder seasons were so strong last year, it's maybe not super surprising. Rates have also varied a ton by market. And so we're seeing this big jump in average daily rate for Virginia Beach, the same way we've seen that in a lot of other markets as well. So in May of this year, the average daily rate or the average rent paid per guest night was at $323, which is substantially higher than $269 the previous year. The growth during that peak season was even higher. So August saw the highest average daily rate for Virginia Beach at $506. Again, big jump up from $372 the year before, and then staying strong through those fall and winter months as well. So we're not seeing around the rest of the country, we're not seeing any slowdown in rates. So we just suggest to keep those rates high, to not start dropping them. The average book-in window is the average time between a guest making a reservation and arrival. As you can see, it's kind of all over the place. 2020, the average book-in window in Virginia Beach and around most of the country really dropped. So guests were maybe booking about a month later, so closer to their arrival than they usually did. There's probably lots of uncertainty about what travel was going to be allowed and whether it would be safe. So people didn't want to plan really far in advance. So the booking window jumped back up this year, hopefully signaling some more optimism about whether summer trips could happen, and then has continued to stay slightly above 2020 through the fall. And so probably getting back to that normal booking window you're used to seeing. To the next slide, stay length has changed a lot as well. So last April, April, that blue line jumped up. A lot of people were choosing to quarantine in rentals, or maybe they even stayed in their own vacation rental property instead. Since then, Virginia Beach's average stay length has tracked pretty closely to what it's used to, so 5 to 7 days. So most people come in and stay in for a week the same way they have in prior years. Here we're looking at the number of new guest reservations or reservations in general made per week. Something we continue to hear is some concern or hesitation that reservation activity has slowed down in the past couple months, which you'll see it kind of is those highest bars are March to May, and then it's kind of slowed down. My advice would be don't freak out yet. That's a normal seasonal trend for markets that have a high summer season. And so while it's slower than it was 6 months ago, it's not fallen off pace yet. Nothing really alarming outside of reservations go up and down seasonally the same way occupancy does. And then
Melanie,
yeah,
just to clarify this slide,
yeah,
are we looking at 2022 on the books, or are you looking at 2021 bookings made for any time in the future?
Yeah, sorry, I did not label this one super well in that case. So this is 2021. So reservations made each week of the year, they could be arriving anytime. So that's just looking at new bookings coming in.
So what you were referring to, like that March through May, those kind of high bars, is likely that 90-day booking window of summer. Where you
right. So March of 2021, everybody was excited. Everybody was booking 3 months out their summer vacations. That's normal. We have heard people a little concerned that bookings have slowed down. But I think again, it's getting back to that normal seasonal fluctuation and reservation activity.
Got it. Yeah, thanks for clarifying.
Yeah. And then the last one, we're looking at reservations made within the last week and when people are checking in. So I do think it's really easy this time of year to start looking at the next peak season. And this is just saying that a lot of arrivals are coming in mid-December for reservations being made now. And then obviously starting to book up for like February, March, April. And so the advice here is just, pay attention to those short-term arrivals, people who still want to come stay. You may be getting some reservations coming in at the last minute. And so focus on those people as much as you are planning a few months ahead as well. And that's what I have.
Thanks, Molly. That was great. Yeah, a lot of good activity. And it sounds like Virginia Beach has maintained kind of normal, but a lot of rate opportunity. Booking patterns and occupancy is still really high, but opportunity to keep pushing rate.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great. Well, we're going to now move to Brandon. Brandon is a Virginia Beach short-term rental homeowner. And as Dana said, super knowledgeable, super involved with regulatory conversations as well. So yeah, I mean, these are just some questions to get us started, Brandon. We just would love to hear more about who you are, how you got started, and kind of your journey through the last couple of years.
Well, first off, it's obvious I need a new headshot.
That
That might have been a few years ago.
it's so we can tell it's the same. A little
That's
less
all right.
facial hair, I guess, back then.
Well,
right?
I told my wife, I said, for Christmas this year, I would like a new headshot photo shoot. So we're working on that. So I got into the short-term rental game in 2015. We bought a house at the oceanfront on foreclosure, put some money into it, cleaned it up, gave it a facelift, and have been renting it ever since. We tried the off-season, short, long-term rental, I guess, from like October to May to fill in the gap, a little cherry on top. And we had some issues with that. And so for the past 2 years, we've done it full-time, just on VRBO exclusively. So, we've got Christmas booked up, and we've got some bookings in January and February. And I love the data analytics, to be honest with you. I'd love to get a copy of that if I could when we're done, because it goes right along. Every year I panic in like March, and I'm like, I don't have any bookings, and I'm like, are my rates too high? And I loved the slide to see the rates going up. I think from 2015 to today, my average weekly rate has increased by $1,000, which is a huge attrition in a short period of time. So I think the data that was shared kind of hits to that point, but this is a side business for us. I tell everyone who will listen that if you can send some emails and just interact with the guests, whether it be on the phone or over text message, then you can do a short-term rental. It's not difficult. I screen all of our guests personally. We do the 24-hour. You have 24 hours, to notify or contact the guests and interact with them, because I want to know who's renting the house. That's one of the things I didn't like about Airbnb, and maybe I just don't know enough about it, but with their instant booking, I want to make sure that who's saying they're renting my house is the person on the other end of the phone. So I'm a little more, I guess, anal when it comes to that. I call each of my guests and I talk to them and I say, hey, tell me a little bit about your group. Why are you coming into town? Why did you choose my house? And I get some feedback, but more importantly, I want to make sure that we don't have bachelor parties or bachelorette parties or high school kids coming in and mom is booking the reservation form or whatever. And as a result of that practice, I've never had any issues, knock on wood. We use a listening device in the home through Minute, MINUT. If there's decibels that go over a certain range, I get a text message. If I don't respond to that text message, there's an alarm that goes off in the house and tells them to calm down. There's also Minute gives you Bluetooth device recognition. So if more than like 16 Bluetooth device comes in range of the Minute, the same takes place. I get a message, etc. So we've had great success, and I'm looking for more.
Oh, that's great. So you're ready. You're thinking like ready to add another home or two to the portfolio.
That's the idea.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then can you talk a little bit about like the good neighbor things you've had to do? And
well, I mean, I thought I knew going right into this very quickly that having the neighbors on board with what I'm doing is going to be crucial. So I literally walked up and down the street with my little girl. We walked down and we made it fun activity for her. She was in, still in diapers at that point. So I pushed the stroller around and I said, hey, we just came into the neighborhood and this is what we're doing. So everyone on my block has my cell phone number. The city of Virginia Beach is now requiring us to put a sign out front with a hotline should folks have a problem. But frankly, I've never had an issue with my neighbors because they all know who I am. If I had one guest that was just out there and the guys were drinking a little too late on the porch, my guests popped their head over the fence and said, hey guys, would you keep it down? And I never heard about that until weeks later, right? Because my guests understand, they get it. And or my neighbors rather, they get it. So, I think engaging with the community and being part of the community goes a long way, but I'll say most short-term rental properties are well kept and are probably some of the nicest homes on the block. So like my place was dilapidated, rundown in foreclosure, and now it's the diamond in the rough. So.
Yeah, that's great. It sounds like you kind of had that approach, that good neighbor approach from the beginning. So it came natural to you and how important that is. And then last question, any COVID impacts or concerns? And
I mean, I'm one of those hosts that's very strict on refunds. I did some homework with some folks out in Arizona when I got into the game in 2014. I was asking around, how do you handle this? And they very frankly they said, we don't do refunds due to the inherent nature of a short-term rental in the summer, right? I mean, if somebody books and then tries to cancel on you. So when COVID hit, I had 2 guests that canceled, or air quote canceled, as a result of COVID. And I talked to them and I was very frank with them. I get it. I hope your family is healthy and well. We don't do refunds. It just is what it is. But I said, here's the deal. Go through the calendar, pick any week that you want next summer, outside of the holidays, the Memorial Day, the Labor Day, and the 4th of July, pick whatever dates you want and you got them. So, I think that's the way to go. Some folks were doing refunds. From the way my business model personally and the cash flow, the way we do it, we get all our money up front and we make improvements, right? So, and the budget's already kind of set once we get our rental income. And most of my reservations come in, as your schematic showed, January to April. Yeah. By April 1, my house is pretty much booked up.
Well, that's great. Like your point about, cancellations and rebooking, great strategy and good point. And how to manage that. So yeah, really appreciate your time today. I know you're super busy, but really valuable, I think, for everyone to hear your story and tips and tricks and just kind of how you do it. So
yep.
We'll
for the
have
few
this
folks
video
that are on the line, I will say, if anybody wants to chat, feel free and reach out to the Alliance, and I'm happy to grab a coffee, with anybody that wants some insight.
Great. Thanks for that. Okay. We have one more segment here before we wrap. So we'll move on to the real estate side of things with Greg. And yeah, Greg, just would love to hear kind of about the investment opportunity. I know you mentioned as we were prepping for the call, it's could be tough to find properties, but a great market to invest in.
Yeah, for sure. So the second home market has been interesting with the COVID. At first, we had like a standstill. Seemed like everybody kind of put buying on hold for a little bit. But in a few short months, people started realizing they can work remotely. We noticed a real uptick in sales in the second home and investment property market. Many of the buyers we've seen in the last year and a half plus focus their search to properties that will become a getaway for them, or something they can offset with rental income in the meantime. So there's been a high demand for rental homes from the tenants perspective as well. Customers are realizing they can get away and still be connected while they're at these properties, still working, still schooling from home, so to speak. So the demand has kept the inventory very low even since June, July of 2020. So we're still looking for some more homes to market and sell, because there's still buyers out there looking specifically to do exactly what we're talking about here, get it in and get some rental income out of it. So
is there an opportunity for folks to buy what might be currently long-term lease inventory and make it short-term rental, or is that tough to do?
It's tough to do. I mean, they're specifically advertised, so I haven't seen a lot of that. But and there's still people that are considering selling their house, haven't really even put it on the market. I've sold 2 or 3 this year that just knew that they were thinking about selling. We went and talked to them and they sold. to buyers that we had lined up waiting for something. So it's interesting. It doesn't even really have to hit the market before it, it'll sell. So.
Like the pocket listing scenario.
Yeah, there's been a few
Wow.
of those.
And so if Virginia Beach, I mean, it's obviously really hot, great location. Are there other maybe outskirts or other Virginia, if folks are just looking for vacation homes in the Virginia area overall, would you even recommend?
Yeah, so most of them are, what we would consider secondary markets. There's several lakes in the state of Virginia, of course, Virginia Beach and Sandbridge area. All those areas, I mean, they're primary residents there as well, but like Lake Anna is another lake in the state, Smith Mountain Lake. They're mostly secondary markets where people use those for getaways. So we've seen those markets are hot as well. Very low inventory there.
Yeah. Well, the other thing we like to talk about is just anyone who's looking to get in the game, buy that next home, with how regulation changes, to definitely make sure you're working with an expert real estate agent in the short-term rental space. And I know that's what Vacasa focuses on.
Yeah.
And actually at Astro, that's part of the investment strategy class. They're kind of like what questions you should ask a real estate agent to make sure you're working with someone who really knows how to help you, because not just every real estate agent has the expertise.
Correct. Yeah. And Vacasa, for example, they have expert market information from people called sales executives. And those are the people that actually bring on new homeowners for the rental market. So that's a good source. If you can find a large property management company in your area, or, go talk to one of those companies and start speaking with the people that actually bring on the homeowners. They're going to give you a ton of information about rental history. They can show you comps. For Casa, for example, we have several properties listed. We can take those properties and show comps to somebody. So say you want to compare a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home to somebody that's on the ocean front. You compare that exact numbers and you can give them a kind of a feel for what that should make in a year. So those sales executives are very helpful. I'm sure most of the larger property management companies have people in those positions. And those people, in Virginia, we're a regulated state, so they have to be licensed realtors. So, and many times if you start working with somebody that's selling to the homeowners to be rental owners, you're also working with an actual real estate agent. So you could go directly with them, or they might have suggestions for people if they don't do that.
Well, thanks for that. Yeah, that can certainly vary market to market, but really appreciate your time, Greg, and expertise.
Absolutely.
And I know we're coming up on the last couple of minutes here. Yeah, thanks again, Greg. So I don't know that we have any questions in the chat. I will just kind of quickly make sure before I close out to see if there are any last questions, how to get in touch with Rent Responsibly, follow them, stay in touch with what they're doing, how to get access to their resources. And it's free to join Astro. So for astro.org, you can jump right in as a free member. Our premier membership tier is also structured to be really affordable. And for $10 a month or $100 a year, you get access to additional perks and benefits, those kind of tech discounts and things we mentioned earlier. And this is how to follow Astro. So thanks again to Dana, Rent Responsibly, Vacasa, Greg, Brandon, as well as Melanie, our sponsor, Key Data Dashboard. We couldn't do these types of things without all of you. So with that, I will stop sharing, and I don't see any questions or chat, but join the community, stay in touch with the Rent Responsibly crew and the Virginia Association. And thanks all for your time today. Really appreciate it. We'll share this video and talk soon.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye,
Thanks.
guys.
Bye now.